All right, we are back here on the podcast. You heard by that introduction here. Hard Knocks is back, the latest edition of the NFL's Inside Training Camp show with HBO, focusing on the Dallas Cowboys here. Joining me today to talk about the premiere episode, one of the biggest Cowboy fans I know. We guys heard from him back talking about the Cowboy draft at the beginning of May. Troy Mauriello is here. Troy, how are you?
I'm doing okay, Mike. I love hearing that music. You know, it makes me think of the start of NFL season that we're only a couple of weeks away. Actually, within a month now, that music just gets me so fired up.
It absolutely does. I remember last year when there was like basically sports had just started coming back and this came on and we were looking at the Rams and the Chargers, no preseason. Like even then I was like, oh, okay, we're going to be getting the NFL soon. I'm excited about this.
Exactly. That music is, you know, up there with like the Masters music and, you know, maybe CBS SEC football. It's the best music in sports, I would say. Up there for sure.
Yeah, it's up there with the NCAA tournament theme too, I think. It's also
yeah.
Yeah, and I obviously the Cowboys are the pick this year, which is why I went to you for this episode. And this is the third time they've been on. First time I think since about like 2009, 8-ish, somewhere around there they've been on. So like what was your thoughts when they said the Cowboys were the pick this year?
Yeah, I was stoked. You know, I think it was 2008 actually was the last time that they were on, and I remember watching that. I was only maybe 12 or 13 at the time, so I didn't really, you know, maybe fully understand it or fully really remember it. So this is like the first time in my adult life that, you know, I can remember seeing the Cowboys on Hard Knocks and kind of getting that inside look. I watched, you know, every single season of Hard Knocks. The Cowboys were actually on one of those Amazon Prime series a couple of years ago, I think in 2017 or 18, and that was amazing. So as a fan, you're always looking for kind of that, you know, inside look on your team, you know, in the preseason. And I was super stoked to know that it would be the Cowboys this season.
Yeah, I mean, I had that experience once, the 2010 Jets, and I have to say that's also probably like one of the most iconic like seasons of that show with all the personalities, Rexes. You gotta have a goddamn snack after the meeting, like Cromartie not remembering the names of his kids, the Revis hold up. There was so much stuff there. Like it's so for me it's just set the bar, hooked me in every year. I feel like nothing for me has really come close to that one.
Yeah, I was actually talking about that yesterday. That was the peak of Hard Knocks. I don't think Hard Knocks will ever top that Jets season. They got us back a second year in a row, right? They did 2 in a row with the Jets because they were just so entertaining.
They did not get the Jets 2 years in a row. They wanted to do it 2 years in a row. The Jets said no.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought they did 2 in a row. But yeah, that one season with the Jets was just so entertaining that that was the peak. I don't think we'll ever top that, but still entertaining nonetheless last night, I felt like.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive into some of the stuff from this episode here. Obviously, you want to talk about this off the air, but I want to point out here, like, most of the time they spend a lot of time talking about, like, you know, here's the big guys, here's a couple of guys on the fringe. We only really had 3 people, like, focused on the entire episode, which is Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Micah Parsons. I feel like that's sort of a departure from the usual Hard Knocks format.
Yeah, we didn't really have, like you said, any of those fringe guys who they kind of. I'm sure they'll get into that, you know, later in the season. They have a couple episodes left. Yeah, we didn't really get any of those guys, you know, any of the journeymen or anything like that. It was really just, like you said, Dak, Zeke, and their friendship and relationship, and then Micah Parsons, the star rookie. You know, we really didn't even see that much of Jerry Jones and McCarthy. You know, a little bit here and there. Jerry Jones eating the what was it, like the Egg McMuffin in the morning was pretty funny. But yeah, it was really just 3 guys. You know, not a whole lot of coverage of the rest of the team, but I'm sure, you know, we'll get into that in the next couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah, because I remember like the opener of the show usually sets the tone for me of the season. Like last year we had the Zoom meeting with Anthony Lynn, the Chargers. He talked about how he had COVID and we got to be careful and all that. And this year we get just Dak talking to the camera about his surgery. Finally had a second one on the ankle, and he basically told you very early that hey, it was cool, it was chilling. It was also Dak's our main character this season. Dak's the guy that we're going to focus on for like all these episodes.
Yeah, and that opening shot of his ankle with the scars and everything like that. I mean, that, like you said, that's going to really set the tone for their entire season. You know, if Dak comes back this year and he is, you know, on the, you know, maybe a fringe MVP candidate and he's throwing for 4,000, 5,000 yards, you know, well, you would hope that he doesn't have to do that. But if he does, you know, they're going to be, you know, win the NFC East pretty easily and should be, a playoff contender. If he struggles or if he battles injuries all season like last year, they're going to struggle as well. So like you said, you know, that kind of set the tone for the season of Hard Knocks, as well as I think the Cowboys overall season, just the health of Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and we got plenty of that because we'd heard from the Fox broadcast of the Hall of Fame game that he was not allowed to throw. He had a shoulder injury. They didn't tell us about it prior to that game, but we found out more at Hard Knocks. Basically, right before the first practice, the training staff runs up and says, hey, he's got some kind of issue here, a strain. He can't throw. Like, he can be here, but he can't actually throw the ball. So, like, I was like seeing that, knowing that you got that information like 2 days before the episode really came out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in the moment when I first heard about that injury, I was obviously holding my breath and very, very nervous. But as that, I kind of knew that it wasn't a serious injury, or like at least the team says it wasn't a serious injury. Watching the episode was a little less stressful, but still, it was interesting to see the reaction of really everyone on the field, kind of holding their breath and worried about the health of their star franchise quarterback, especially McCarthy, knowing like, oh man, are we going to have to go through a second season of this now with no Dak Prescott? But luckily, it doesn't seem like it's a too serious of an injury. I also thought it was interesting when they had the athletic trainer talking about how he had consulted with trainers on the Rangers and the Yankees, for similar injuries that they deal with every day. That kind of like synergy in between sports. That was kind of like an interesting little tidbit for me, throughout the episode, that Dak's injury and everything like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of Dak. The injury is always the big thing. We also had some fun stuff with him, like the whole thing where he and Ezekiel Elliott are exchanging birthday gifts in the episode. That was funny. We're in Zeke's hotel room, and then we see Dak show up when Zeke is wrapping the gift. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah, even Zeke not being able to wrap a gift, that's like a millionaires. They're just like us. I have trouble wrapping gifts. I think Zeke is the same way. How terribly he wrapped that gift. But then the gift inside was probably $1,000 suitcase. So that's maybe a little bit different than the gifts that I give people. But it was kind of funny to humanize him for sure.
Yeah. So what's the go-to wrapping technique then? Because you and I both seem to have like wrapping. I feel like me, I always just go way over the amount of wrapping paper I need, and then I just sort of like finagle it as I get there.
Yeah, I'm big on taking way too much, and then I have the excess, and then you have like the cutouts of like a little bit that you can't really use to wrap anything else. So you're just kind of in a tough spot there. Yeah, I felt Zeke's pain for sure when I saw him doing that.
Yeah, it was a shame I don't know if I missed this, but did we see what Zeke got from Dak for his birthday?
No. Oh, he did say, I think it was some sort of a gold watch maybe, or something like gold, some sort of piece of jewelry for sure. Yeah. He mentioned it. I don't think he showed it though.
Yeah, I would have liked to see it because they gave us that story. They didn't really finish it.
Yeah. Yeah. But the suitcase looked phenomenal with Dak. And that was a really nice segue of the people that produced the show, saying Dak got this suitcase, but unfortunately he can't use it because he's not traveling with the team to Ohio to make the Hall of Fame game. That was a good job by the producers.
Yeah, good job, producers. I like the fact that we got the camp shot of all the fans singing "Happy Birthday" to Dak. That was fun too.
Yeah, one of those like lighthearted moments in training camp that the fans love, and then the birthday cake with throwing it in Dak's face and that reserve offensive lineman out of breath saying that he wants the cake.
Yeah.
I hope that we feature that guy a little bit more. I didn't even know who that was, but it was really funny seeing him. What is that? I want to try the cake. I want to try the cake over and over again. That was hilarious. So hopefully we get a more of a look on him as the season goes on.
Yeah, he does some fun moments in the episode. What was like your thing that got you laughing the most in the episode?
Oh, it was the cake for sure. That cracked me up for sure. That guy out of breath, big offensive lineman out of breath talking about how he wants to try the cake. That was that had me on the floor laughing for sure.
Yeah, that was great. I'll throw 2 other ones out there for ets and giggles. So number 1, I'd say the montage of them all riding the bikes around the practice facility was funny. Like seeing like these big linemen riding these tiny bikes and like Zeke stealing Dak's bike. That was all fun. Yeah,
that was great, and Dak not having the bike, and then he put the number 4 on his bike, I think, so that no one would steal it. That was a good moment too.
Yeah, and then another thing I love was when they went to the meeting and they showed the Austin Powers footage where they were trying to get them to talk about the Mojo Moment. The entire room was cracking up and they play Mojo Moment on the practice field. That was funny too.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that whole idea of the Mojo Moments or whatever, setting the kind of situational football with the lighthearted Austin Powers thing, obviously. But that was really cool. We saw CeeDee Lamb make that crazy catch, I think, in one of those scenarios as well.
Yeah.
That was a really cool part as well.
I did also like what they did with the intros. You could tell they were going all out with the intro this year after they really were sort of limited for what they could do last year because of the COVID restrictions. So, you got all these high-quality shots of the close-ups of the guys. You got the wide shots of the practice. You got the fans in there a bunch. They want to emphasize the fans are back. So I thought it was a very well-produced intro. It's not like your whole, Cleveland, we're going to show you the city of Cleveland. It's more focused on what's actually going on here.
Yeah, definitely. And on that note, too, it was really cool to see fans back at the training camp, at the Hall of Fame game, guys walking around, kind of business as usual. with COVID and everything like that. Because like you said, last year, obviously in sports in general, but even Hard Knocks, I felt like was just so kind of, hampered with what they could do with the COVID restrictions. A lot of it, like you said, was on Zoom. So it's cool to see, fans coming back and kind of normal procedures for Hard Knocks again after last year was just kind of so limited in what they could do.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why they did 2 teams last year. So without a preseason, it'd be really hard to stretch one team out and have like enough content for everything. So 2, I think, made sense last year. This year, I'm glad they went back to 1.
Yeah, exactly. And it did make sense with the 2 LA teams going to their new stadium. So they did a good job with what they had last year for sure. But I'd still rather watch, a season like this over that any day of the week, really.
It's also unusual for them because I remember the last time they had a team on Hard Knocks in the Hall of Fame game. So usually you don't get preseason footage of the first episode of the season. So I think that also might be why we didn't get as much on some of the other guys we usually do.
Yeah, it's funny. I was watching the episode and then 30 minutes in, they talk about going to Canton. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that they were even playing in the preseason game. It kind of struck me as a surprise. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. I think that, hopefully in the next couple of episodes now, we'll focus on some guys trying to make the team, because that's really what Hard Knocks is all about. You get the closer look, obviously, at your star players, the head coach, any funny assistant coaches or anything like that. But I think the real thing of Hard Knocks, or the appeal of Hard Knocks, is watching these guys, journeyman NFL veterans, or young guys trying to make a team, grinding out there, and then seeing the guys get cut. Obviously, that's always tough. That's, for me, that's really the whole appeal of Hard Knocks. So hopefully next week, when we have a little bit more time, like you said, we get into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I was also disappointed we did not get more of them actually being in Canton, because I know, obviously, like, I don't know how much the players were actually like around for like some of that stuff, and like maybe seeing them go to the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. I would have liked to see a little more of that. I don't know how much they actually had available to them.
Yeah, it was really just the game day footage, and that was it, or the in-game footage, and that was it. We didn't really see a whole lot, but in Canton, it cracked me up, the whole Micah Parsons thing too, when he's on the phone with Dan Quinn asking if he can get another series out there, and he got turned down, and then talking with Van Der Esch on the bench, saying how long he was going to be sitting for, and adding it all up. That cracked me up as kind of the the duality, or the difference between the NFL veteran and then the NFL rookie. The rookie wants to just get out there and play, and the veteran's over it, and he's ready to go back home or go back to training camp. That really cracked me up as well.
Yeah, I remember that whole sequence. The phone part was great. I remember we never usually see that before, like them talking on the phone during the game. I like the conversation, like we flew out here. We played. We have to sit for 2.5 hours on the bench. Another 2-hour flight back. So there's a lot of sitting.
Yeah, that was like the the quintessential like NFL rookie, just wants to get out there and hit people. Probably instead he's stuck sitting down for like 8 or 9 hours, like he said. I really felt that when he said that.
Yeah. Aside from the rookie stuff, is there anything you're surprised you not get in this episode?
Honestly, I thought we'd get more of guys that weren't Dak, Zeke, and Parsons. Obviously, I thought that we'd see a little bit on like CeeDee Lamb or DeMarcus Lawrence on the defense, or maybe the offensive line. Those offensive linemen for the Cowboys, they're really, really funny guys. Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, they have a great relationship. Again, I'm sure we'll see more of them as the season goes on. But I remember watching the Amazon series a couple of years ago with them, and Zach Martin and Tyron Smith, and seeing like their relationship was really a cool part of that. So I'd like to see a little bit more on the stars that aren't Dak and Zeke, but that was really the only thing I guess that surprised me, was that we only saw really, 2 of the mainstays on this roster, when there's a lot of big names on this roster that they can focus on.
Yeah, one of the things I can sense maybe why the league probably may have said no to this, and I'm disappointed, but I think it would make sense given the news around it. Like, to see like what's going on sort of with them, with like the vaccine status of some of the players. I know it's a hot topic at some teams around the league, because COVID's not dead once people want it to be, because the Delta variant surging on this country, and they had all the memos out about like trying to encourage guys to get vaccinated. Like, I don't know what the status of the Cowboys is in that regard, but like we're just gonna have a discussion about like, hey, like let's keep an eye on our stuff, because COVID could still be a problem for us if we're not careful.
Yeah. I do wonder if the NFL told them to maybe not focus on that and to keep it out after. Maybe even that was a decision by them, after last year, where COVID was really the main focus of it, to kind of scale back on that. And I'm not sure about that, but that is a good point. And you did see a couple guys on the practice field in the meetings with the mask on. I would assume that means that they're not vaccinated. I know that a good portion, I think their entire coaching staff was vaccinated. And I want to say they are at or above the 85%. So they're doing well with that for sure. But yeah, I think maybe they'll get into that as well. I would hope that this whole variant kind of surge turns down a little bit, but if it continues like it's been continuing, we may see COVID kind of creep back into this season as well and be more of a focus like it was last year.
Yeah, it's something you don't want to see. I think your only reason we're going to get that is like if it becomes like a hot button issue, if the league has to change something and you can't ignore it, or like they have like a breakthrough case on it. I think that's the only way you're going to see it in the show.
Exactly. Yeah. If they have sort of an outbreak or something like that, then I feel like they would have no choice but to feature it. But let's hope not, because I did enjoy, like I said, I did enjoy the normalcy of not really having to watch 45 minutes of COVID talk, unfortunately.
Yeah, I also think that we're in line for here. The thing that's surprising is I think we got to get more Jerry Jones. Like, Jerry Jones was very quiet aside from the Egg McMuffin.
Yeah. We only had really well, we had him in it wasn't the first scene, but one of the first couple of scenes at the press conference, and he was just going on and on and on. I felt like fast forwarding. I was like, oh my God, I was watching live, but I was like, what is he talking about here? He talked for like 2 minutes. It felt like that was really the only that, and like we said, the Egg McMuffin thing was really the only times that we saw Jerry. Yeah, he's he is a guy that's full of character for sure, and I thought he would be one of the main characters as well. So I'm sure we will see more Jerry in the last 4 episodes.
Yes, I remember when they had when they were on the Amazon show, Jerry Jones was basically like the main character of like every other episode. Like, he was in there so much with him and his kids, or sort of like the main characters that were not on the team.
Yeah, they did a lot of coverage with Jerry with that. So I'm sure we'll get a shot of Jerry with his family and everything like that, and we'll focus on that for sure. Yeah, but I was a little surprised we didn't get it in episode 1.
Yeah, I'm so curious to see, like, obviously as the season goes on here, because like the preseason gonna be different, and usually that last episode of Hard Knocks is the last preseason game is early, and then we have all the drama of who's getting cut and who made the team and stuff like that. I just think now that the preseason's gonna be over, they're gonna have an episode like at the end there where it's just like literally just like going through the team and going through cuts and like all that stuff. So interesting to see like how they allot that time there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they structure this season. Like you mentioned, also with the extra preseason game and all that. They will have one episode that's really just kind of nothing, but yeah, it'll be cool. What do they have? 4 episodes left. So yeah, I'm definitely excited as a Cowboys fan. I'm definitely excited to check out the last couple of episodes.
Yeah. Cause I mean, they've had a couple of good seasons of late. Like the last year they did what they could with it. The Raiders were fun. The Browns were
the Raiders and the Browns were 2 really good ones. Before that, they had a stretch where they really had a couple bad ones in a row.
Yeah, because I mean, like Atlanta wasn't exciting, Tampa wasn't very exciting. I mean, they had a couple of like Dolphins and Bengals in there who were not very great. Aside from at the moment, like Chad Johnson getting cut on the show, but like I think they're poised for a good season here.
Yeah, I hope so. What was they did the Rams one too, I believe, when they went to LA.
Yeah,
that was okay as well. But yeah, they kind of have up and down. But yeah, I think, with the Cowboys, it's always going to be entertaining. There's always something with Jerry and everything like that. There's always going to be something to watch for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I got the list of Hard Knocks seasons up here, so I'll go through the history of it real quick. It started off in 2001 with the Ravens after they won the Super Bowl. They were there. Cowboys 2002, then there's a break. Kansas City 2007, Dallas again 2008, Bengals 2009, the Jets in 2010. They skipped 2011 because of the lockout. Then we had that stretch of Dolphins, Bengals, Falcons, Texans, Rams, Bucks. That was not a great stretch.
No, yeah, the only one that was good in there was Rams, in my opinion.
Yeah, that wasn't even that great, in my opinion.
No. It was just interesting because that was right after the move, right?
Yeah.
To LA. Yeah, that was really the only part of that one, yeah.
That was more, I think the NFL just said, hey, like, you're going to be on the show. That's part of your condition of the move.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Tampa was not that exciting in 2017, but Cleveland had all the fun stuff there with the coach going like,
yes,
and his big belly. That was the big storyline. The Raiders were the Raiders. You had Gruden. That was always fun. But this one I'm excited for.
Yeah, they've been on a recent good stretch. Not really counting last year, but they've been on a decent stretch of late. So, like I said, with the Cowboys, it's going to be entertaining for sure.
Yeah, I will say, though, the Cowboys are fun, but considering all the fights we had at Giant Camp and all the people like freaking out, it would have been fun years to see them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, who knows? I mean, it's training camp. It's hot out there. Maybe the Cowboys will get some fights going to make it a little bit entertaining. But you're right. Giants camp would have been cool as well to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Troy, thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, I'll give you a follow social media, keep on some of the stuff you're up to, including your podcast.
Yeah, definitely. You can follow me on Twitter at Troy Mauriello, TroyMauriello. I do the Seeing Red podcast, St. John's basketball. So once college basketball comes back, you can check that out if you're a St. John's basketball or a Big East basketball fan. We do episodes once a week starting in October, November. So definitely check that out.
Yeah,
Thanks, Mike.
it's sneaking up on us here, the college basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. Really excited, for St. John's and the Big East and everything like that. And yeah, I mean, so many guys came back. So it'll be a cool season to watch for sure.
Yeah, one thing I'll also say about college basketball while we're on the topic real quick, I think NIL is going to save this sport because it's going to keep a lot of guys either going into college, post the G League, or some of these guys who are fringe, like first-round picks, to stay in, make extra money, and improve their stock and become college stars. I think they're the sport that benefits the most from NIL.
Yeah, yeah. So many guys this season that would have been, maybe late first round or second round picks felt like that they stayed in college for one more year because of, like you mentioned, that NIL. And yeah, it leads to a more entertaining product when you have, better players playing. And like you mentioned, high school kids going to the NCAA instead of to the G League. Yeah, it's definitely good for college basketball for sure.
Yeah, like Jalen Duan, who just committed to Memphis last week, like he basically said that the NIL was the reason why he decided to go to college, not the G League.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, you're going to see more and more guys like that coming out of high school, these highly recruited kids that, are going to say, you know what, I can make a good amount of money, or I can make just as much money playing college as I could playing G League. And I'm going to be on ESPN every week, or, CBS or Fox every week. So, and I get to play in the NCAA tournament. So it's definitely a step in the right direction, and a long overdue step in the right direction.
Yes, I imagine if you're, and you and I can't relate this because we're not like highly skilled basketball players. So if you're like a high school kid who's like highly skilled in basketball, you have all sorts of like blue bloods chasing your certs, like Kentucky and Duke or whoever, and your option is go to the G League where nobody's gonna watch my games. I'm gonna get paid, but I'll go to college and get sponsorships everywhere. I go to Duke, I get on TV every week. I can make money that way and make them off my name. Like I'm gonna go that way.
Yeah. I don't think that it's even a hard decision for these guys now. I mean, why would you not go to the, the big program and be on TV every week instead of, like you said, being on the G League where, you're getting paid a salary, but it may not even be more than what you'd make in college now, and no one's really watching your games. I feel like it's not even a hard decision for these guys now.
No, it's not. I think it's interesting to see what happens going forward. Troy, thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it.
Definitely, Mike. Talk soon.